Seeing Hiroki nearby, Yumeko begins to worry that he might have overheard their conversation. It quickly becomes clear that he did not, as he only approached to check on her condition. Relieved, Yumeko relaxes and thanks him for his concern. She even calls him kind despite his intimidating appearance and complains about the woes of being attractive, claiming that even inanimate objects seem drawn to her. Both Degawa and Hiroki stare at her in confusion. Hiroki then mentions that people have started leaving and offers to let them share a taxi with him. Degawa's expression suddenly hardens with resolve as she asks whether Hiroki can drop them off at Rikako's place. Hiroki looks puzzled. While he understands why Degawa would want to visit Rikako, he cannot grasp why Yumeko would be involved. Degawa explains that Rikako may have something to do with Yumeko's incident and asks whether Rikako has mentioned anything to him. Hiroki is clearly taken aback but admits that Rikako has not told him anything. Sensing his hesitation, Degawa declares that she and Yumeko will find another way there. Hiroki immediately warns them not to confront Rikako, explaining that she is currently unstable. This warning only angers Degawa. She reveals that Yumeko had seen and spoken with Rikako earlier, but Kisuke arrived and took Rikako home. She scolds Hiroki for leaving Rikako in Kisuke's care when she needed him most and even questions whether he truly loves her. She goes as far as to say that if he never loved Rikako, then he should never have married her. As Degawa breaks down in tears, Hiroki tells her that she has the wrong idea. Yumeko steps forward and says that she has always believed Hiroki still loves Rikako, citing the story he once shared about the meat and potato stew. She acknowledges that Hiroki is fighting many battles of his own but gently reminds him not to shoulder all the blame. She frames their situation as a test of fate, encouraging him not to worry too much and expressing her belief that if Hiroki and Rikako truly face each other, their love will only grow stronger. In response, Yumeko suddenly removes the bandage from her forehead, revealing unblemished skin. Degawa is stunned, as there should have been a visible wound. Yumeko explains that this is proof that all wounds can heal. She urges Hiroki to believe in his love, and in the love symbolized by the meat and potato stew. Degawa questions why Yumeko keeps bringing up that dish, and Yumeko explains that it is a special meal shared between Hiroki and Rikako. Hiroki admits that healing invisible wounds is not so simple. At that moment, Saki appears and invites all of them out for drinks. Yumeko agrees to join, but Degawa pulls her aside and urgently asks what they plan to do about Rikako. Yumeko tells Degawa that they should not rush things and that it would be best to follow Hiroki's lead for now. Seeing Yumeko's confidence, Degawa eases up and agrees. Yumeko then rejoins Saki and announces that she will be joining them for drinks, only for Saki to immediately tell her that she is not allowed to drink alcohol. Yumeko insists that she is perfectly fine and proudly points out that her forehead has already healed. Degawa approaches Hiroki and tells him that she still believes he should talk to Rikako. As the group heads toward the bar, Yumeko watches Hiroki closely, wondering whether his earlier words about wounds were about Rikako. A strange uneasiness settles in her chest, as if something is about to go terribly wrong. Meanwhile, back with Rikako and Kisuke, Kisuke scolds her for showing up at the barbecue unannounced. He questions why she approached Yumeko, knowing full well that if Yumeko were to regain her memories, Rikako would be the one to suffer the consequences. Rikako coldly tells him to admit that he is afraid of her getting close to Yumeko. Kisuke tries to deny it, but his hesitation only fuels Rikako's accusations. She claims that he has betrayed her and chosen Yumeko's side. When Kisuke attempts to reason with her, Rikako pushes further, accusing him of being in love with Yumeko. Kisuke denies the accusation, but when Rikako begins speaking harshly about Yumeko, he finally snaps. He reprimands her, insisting that Yumeko is an amazing woman and does not deserve such cruel words. He desperately pleads for Rikako to return to how she used to be, but Rikako retreats deeper into her own thoughts. In her mind, everyone has turned against her, siding with Yumeko instead. Rikako convinces herself that she has no one left. She goes toward the balcony, intent on ending her life. Kisuke manages to stop her at the last moment by bringing up Yu and how devastated he would be if he lost his mother. The mention of her son snaps Rikako back to reality. Remembering how deeply Yu loves her, she halts, allowing Kisuke to pull her away from the edge. She breaks down in his arms, begging him not to leave her. Kisuke holds her tightly and promises that he will never abandon her. After the planning department's drinking party, the group bids Hiroki goodnight as he heads off in a different direction. As he walks alone, Degawa's words about speaking to Rikako echo in his mind, followed by Yumeko's encouragement to believe in love. Suddenly filled with resolve, Hiroki breaks into a run toward their old apartment. Upon arriving, he stops in front of the intercom, his finger hovering over the call button as he debates whether to press it. Meanwhile, Kisuke has just finished tucking Rikako into bed when he hears the door buzzer ring. Concerned, he goes to check who it is. To his surprise, it turns out to be Rikako's neighbor, Sakuragi, who is asking for help because her toilet is overflowing and no one else is willing to assist her. Kisuke hesitates for a moment, weighing his options. Seeing that Rikako is already fast asleep, he decides he can step away briefly. After grabbing the apartment keys, he follows Sakuragi to help her. At the same time, Hiroki's finger remains hovering over the apartment's call button. After several moments of hesitation, he finally presses it. There is no response as Kisuke is out and Rikako is still sound asleep. Hiroki considers using his spare keys to enter the apartment but ultimately decides against it. With a conflicted expression, he turns away and leaves. After finishing the repairs, Kisuke returns to Rikako's apartment. He feels relieved when he finds everything just as he left it. He decides to tidy up for Rikako, carefully gathering the trash. As he is nearly finished, he hears faint mumbling coming from Rikako's room. Concerned, he steps inside to check on her. He finds her asleep, softly murmuring Hiroki's name. Choosing not to disturb her further, he quietly wishes her a good night and leaves the room. Elsewhere, Yumeko watches her commercial playing on television. She feels proud of everything she has achieved since losing her memories. She admits to herself that the journey has not been easy, filled with confusion and unexpected hardships. Even so, she is grateful, as each day continues to bring exciting discoveries. She reflects on how she managed to create her very first product together with her teammates. She recalls growing closer to Hiroki during their business trip to Hokkaido, learning more about him and how deeply he cared for Rikako. She also thinks of Degawa, whom she considers one of the most amazing people she has ever met. As her thoughts drift to the barbecue and everything leading up to it, Yumeko realizes how meaningful each moment has been. Much of her growth came from the friendships she formed along the way. She acknowledges that she can love Kisuke freely, regardless of whether or not her memories return. Turning to a page in her notebook where she once wrote cruel words about herself, Yumeko gently glides her fingers over the ink before closing it. Holding the notebook close to her chest, she quietly thanks her former self. She promises to keep creating wonderful products and declares her goal of becoming a true hitmaker. Finally, she considers doing something special for everyone. As she munches on her chips, Yumeko decides to bake homemade cookies for everyone. While she manages to prepare the batter, she struggles to operate the oven. She tries hitting it in hopes of making it work, but it malfunctions and explodes in her face. Recovering quickly, Yumeko decides it would be safer to look up a no-bake recipe online. She settles on making a cookies and cream cheesecake and successfully puts one together. Curious, she takes a bite to test the flavor. She instantly falls in love with the taste and keeps eating, only to realize too late that she has finished the entire cake. Panicking, she searches for something else she can make and ends up preparing chocolate pudding. Once again, she tries a spoonful and finds herself unable to stop, finishing all the food she made. Declaring that being a foodie is a demanding job, she decides it would be best to simply buy sweets for everyone the next morning. The following day, Yumeko meets Kisuke at the park, though she ends up taking an unusual route to get there. Kisuke is amused and points out that there is a much easier way to reach the spot. As she sits down, she asks about Rikako. Kisuke reassures her that Rikako is doing fine and that he made sure to take her home safely. Relieved, Yumeko takes a sip of the iced coffee Kisuke brought for them. As she drinks, Kisuke apologizes for raising his voice when he saw Rikako, admitting that he was simply shocked by her sudden appearance. Yumeko reassures him that everything is fine. She admits that she had actually hoped to meet Rikako someday, knowing she was Hiroki's wife. Yumeko adds that she is happy she finally had the chance to speak with her. Kisuke is taken aback by Yumeko's kindness and confesses that he feels guilty for not being able to return her generosity. Yumeko insists that he has already given her more than enough, claiming that his smile is the source of her energy. Seeing him happy and well is enough for her. Kisuke praises her positive spirit, noting that she not only makes him happy but seems to bring joy to everyone around her. With confidence, Yumeko declares herself the Cupid of romance, the goddess of victory, and the sun that brightens everyone's day. Kisuke smiles warmly at her and calls her his hero in return. Yumeko quickly corrects him, saying she is a heroine, since that is the proper female term. Kisuke apologizes for the mistake and agrees, adding that she is absolutely right and incredibly cute. Yumeko blushes deeply, her feelings for him overflowing as the compliment fills her with immense happiness. Kisuke notices that Yumeko seems lost in her thoughts and calls her name to get her attention. In a panic, Yumeko tries to cover her embarrassment by suddenly claiming that her hands are cute as well. Curious, Kisuke asks if he can feel them. Without thinking, Yumeko immediately gives him permission. Kisuke gently takes her hands and lightly squeezes them, agreeing that they really do feel like marshmallows. However, when he looks up at her face, he notices how red it has become. Realizing that they are holding hands, Kisuke quickly lets go and apologizes. Yumeko tries to brush it off and act as if it means nothing, but fails and instead pretends that it is almost time for them to leave. Kisuke is just as embarrassed and attempts to remember what he was supposed to discuss regarding work, In the end, they decide to email each other instead and begin walking in separate directions so they will not be seen together. Yumeko dashes away, her face still burning as she reflects on how much more forward Kisuke was today compared to usual. She finds herself thinking that romance is truly thrilling and believes it will continue to make her feel beautiful. At the office, the planning department gathers as a new employee named Takaru is introduced. Many of the women are immediately drawn to his good looks, much to the quiet jealousy of some of the men. Hiroki assigns Yumeko to look after him. Upon hearing her name, Takaru recognizes her as the person behind the Ramune-flavored chips. To everyone's shock, he suddenly kneels in front of her and asks her to take him on as her apprentice. The entire planning department is left stunned, and even Yumeko herself is completely confused by the unexpected proposal. Thanks for watching. This marks the end of the season. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed it.